The sky was darker than usual, and the wind carried a chill that made Chioma's skin prickle. She stood at the entrance of the forest, staring at the path hidden behind the thick trees. No one in the village dared to step onto that path. They all knew the stories, the whispers of those who entered and were never seen again. But tonight, Chioma had no choice. Her mother was dying, her breath shallow, her skin cold. The village native doctor had tried everything, but nothing worked. The native doctors told her one thing Chioma had always feared: find the village of immortals, or she won't survive the night. Chioma's heart pounded as she took her first step onto the path. The trees closed in around her, their branches twisting like fingers, reaching out to grab her. Every instinct told her to turn back, but she kept moving. She had to save her mother. Nothing else mattered. The air grew colder with each step, and the sounds of the village faded away. The silence was heavy, pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. Chioma's mind raced with all the stories she'd heard about this path. Some said it was cursed, others believed it was a test. Only the brave could find the village of immortals. She was deep in the forest now, and the path seemed endless. Suddenly, she heard a soft rustling behind him. She spun around, but there was nothing there. Just the shadows and the darkness. She turned back, quickening her pace, but the rustling grew louder, closer. Panic gripped her, and she started running. Then she saw it, a faint light in the distance, flickering like a firefly in the dark. Chioma forced her legs to move faster, even as the rustling behind her turned into footsteps. They were following her. She burst into a small clearing, and there it was, a gate made of twisted vines and bones, glowing faintly in the darkness. Her breath caught in her throat as she realized where she was. This was the entrance to the village of immortals. But something was wrong. The air was too still, the silence too deep. Chioma felt eyes on her, watching from the shadows. She knew she wasn't alone. Gathering her courage, she stepped forward and pushed the gate open. It creaked loudly, echoing through the forest. She hesitated for a moment, but then the thought of her mother's pale face pushed her forward. He stepped through the gate and into the village. The first thing she noticed was the smell, sweet, like flowers and decay. The village was empty, the houses dark and silent. But in the center of the village stood a large tree, its branches heavy with glowing fruit. Chioma knew what she had to do. He had to pick the fruit and bring it back to his mother. But as she reached for the lowest branch, she heard a voice behind her. "You mortal, you are not meant to be in this place." Chioma froze, her hand inches from the fruit. She turned slowly and saw a figure stepping out of the shadows. It was an old man, his eyes glowing with an eerie light. He looked at Chioma with a mix of pity and anger. "Why are you here, girl?" the old man asked, his voice low and grave. Chioma's throat was dry, but she managed to speak. "My mother, she's dying. I need the fruit to save her." The old man shook his head. "That fruit does not belong to the living. It will save her, but at a price." "What price?" Chioma asked, her heart sinking. "The price of your life," the old man said simply. "Once you take the fruit, you can never leave this village. You will live forever, but you will never see your mother again." Chioma felt the weight of the old man's words pressing down on her. She looked at the fruit, then back at the old man. Could she really sacrifice her own life to save her mother's? Before she could decide, the ground beneath her began to shake. The villagers, the ones who had disappeared long ago, started to emerge from the shadows. Their eyes glowed with the same airy light as the old man's, and they moved silently toward Chioma, their faces blank and expressionless. Chioma backed away, but the villagers surrounded her, cutting off any chance of escape. She was trapped. The old man stepped forward, his eyes boring into Chioma's. Choose, girl. Save your mother and live forever in this village, or leave now and let her die. Chioma's mind raced. She could feel the cold breath of the villagers on his skin. Hear the rustle of their clothes as they closed in. But then she thought of his mother, lying helpless in her bed, waiting for her to return. She took a deep breath and reached for the fruit. The old man smiled sadly, but as Chioma's fingers brushed the glowing fruit, a voice, soft but clear, echoed in her mind. Run! It was her mother's voice, weak but determined. Chioma hesitated for only a moment, then she turned and ran, pushing through the crowd of villagers. They reached for her, their hands cold and bony, but she slipped past them, running faster than she ever had in her life. She didn't stop until she burst out of the forest and into the light of the village. His chest was heaving, and her heart was pounding, but she was alive. And she was free. When she reached her mother's side, she was still breathing, her eyes fluttering open as she took her hand. Chioma knew she had made the right choice. She would never speak of what happened in that forest. The village of immortals would remain a secret, a place where no one else would venture. But she had learned one thing that night: some paths are better left unexplored. The village of immortals would forever remain hidden, a place of both promise and peril, where life and death were two sides of the same coin. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do like and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our amazing stories. Bye.